Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to share a first look at Call of Cthulhu, the Blessed and the Blasphemous from Sons of the Singularity. This is written by Francis Aquilone, Patrick Chandler, Jason Sheets, Jesse Kovner, and Dan Bass, with artwork provided by Jennifer S. Lang, El Hussein, and Carlos Cara Alvarez. And I do apologize, I guarantee I've mispronounced at least two of those names. This 340-page hardcover is available now. It carries an MSRP of $64, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $28. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Blessed and the Blasphemous for Call of Cthulhu. So let's get the shrink wrap off. A few things I do want to mention before we dive on in. First of all, the fine folks over at Sons of the Singularity were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important that you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every one of the 340 pages, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what you're going to find in this adventure campaign. Now, I just mentioned this is an adventure campaign. So if you are a player and your keeper has picked up the Blessed and the Blasphemous, or maybe they're considering getting this, by all means, I definitely recommend tune out now. I really don't know anything about this. You just saw me take the shrink wrap off. But I can tell you for certain we are going to see some spoilers as I page through. So you don't want any of the surprises ruined simply because you watched this video. Now, of course, if your keeper is thinking about picking this up, and this just came out because this successfully kickstarted, I believe the Kickstarter fulfillment wrapped up just in April. And now this is available for purchase for those who didn't back the Kickstarter. But if they're considering getting this, by all means, let them know about this video so they can approach this and make a far more informed buying decision. So let's take a look at the back here. Cosmic horror and intrigue set in North Africa at the onset of World War II. The Blessed and the Blasphemous offers a gripping tale set in the tumultuous backdrop of North Africa at the onset of World War II. This 7-scenario Call of Cthulhu campaign immerses players in a harrowing journey across diverse locations, from the bustling Casablanca seaport to the majestic peaks of the Atlas Mountains. Delve into the depths of human depravity and ancient eldritch lore as you unravel the clues pointing to a peril that threatens the very fabric of our world. All right, let's jump on in. I am excited to take a peek at this because this is the first time I've had an opportunity to take a look at something from Sons of the Singularity. Now, they are currently in the midst of a Kickstarter for the second edition of the Sassoon Files, which I do believe is a Shanghai-based campaign set in the 1930s for Call of Cthulhu. So we've got a bunch of credits here. So attribution for the artwork as well as rights for the artwork. We've got all of that here. Some special thanks as well. We've got our table of contents. So we have 7 scenarios. Looks like we've got an optional scenario there. I do also believe that you can run these adventures as standalone. So if you wanted to incorporate these into a campaign of your own making, certainly could. So we're going to take a look at some synopses as we take a peek through. So The Blessed and the Blasphemous takes place in North Africa during the turbulent years leading up to the Second World War. The campaign unfolds across various locations in Morocco and Algeria from 1938 to 1941. From the Casablanca seaport to the Atlas mountaintop, investigators will explore the depths of depravity and the heights of nature to discover the clues leading to a world-threatening mystery. Sweet. So we get a breakdown of the timeline, historical overview. Now, if you are familiar with the Gaming Gang, you know I have been running Call of Cthulhu for over 40 years. It is my absolute favorite role-playing game. And one aspect that I love about Call of Cthulhu, with the best scenarios and campaigns and so forth, is when they tie into real history. Absolutely love that. So it looks like we're setting the scene with some historical background, some information about the region, various different areas. So it looks like a bit of a gazetteer here. And then some important locations, important NPCs. I think these are historic NPCs. I don't think these are fictional. Although maybe this person right here, they might be fictional. Obviously enough, if there's a photograph, it's probably going to be based on a real person. The mythos and supernatural. The mythos and supernatural of the Blessed and the Blasphemous is an amalgamation of cosmic horror and supernatural themes, drawing upon influences from Lovecraftian literature, regional folklore, and a smattering of science fiction. This section contains specific details on supernatural enemies, cosmic entities, events, locations, powerful artifacts, and the mysterious cult. Get some artifacts and spells. Tell you right now, this looks like this is jam-packed. We'll tell you that the paper stock, pretty nice. Pretty nice. It's got a nice matte finish. I know a lot of folks out there prefer a matte finish to their game books. Well, that is certainly what you're getting right here. Looks like it's laid out very nicely, too. Looks like we've got side boxes here with lore. So these are marked as lore sheets. So we start off in Casablanca. Guess we can go hang out at Rick's Cafe American. Rick, hide me, Rick! It's one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. I go back and forth with Casablanca. I like old movies. I love new movies too, don't get me wrong. But I go back and forth between Casablanca and Citizen Kane as my favorite movie. And I'll get into the Citizen Kane kind of mode when I'm thinking of movies that really revolutionized how film is shot, because there are so many things in Citizen Kane that were done that hadn't been done in movies prior to that, which are now just givens that we see in a movie and we're like, oh, yeah, not surprised by that. And then I kind of shift over to Casablanca when I think of just fantastic scripts and memorable lines from a movie, because Casablanca is absolutely jam-packed. Round up the usual suspects. So we are now in the first adventure. So let's go back, because I was rambling along. Let's take a quick look at a bit of the summary. As war drums loom across Europe, the French protectorate of Morocco is on edge. The country is awash with refugees fleeing persecution in Europe, civilians seeking safe passage, soldiers, spies, academics, adventurers, and overwhelmed French administrators. As a result, major urban centers of the protectorate become a melting pot where one could hear more than a dozen different languages in the streets. So it is He Who Stands on Mountains. So it's a short linear scenario meant to kick off the blessed and the blasphemous intrigue and cosmic horror in French North Africa, 1938 to 1941. Serves as an introduction to the region and several important characters. Nice. So we've got a timeline of what's going on in this adventure by day. I'm liking the lore sheet info on the side boxes. Are these pre-generated characters? I'm taking a guess that they are, if you want to use pre-gens for this campaign. Then we have the Blessed Twin Sisters, or the Blessed Twin Sisters. The Blessed Twin Sisters is a sandbox scenario with multiple clues and interconnected elements relevant to subsequent scenarios. The scenario reaches its zenith at the French North African Mineral Exploration Corporation, the partnership's mine and base of operations. Throughout the investigation, investigators will either be one step ahead or one step behind the partnership, who are actively seeking out Aisha and Enzimnia, nor the Blessed Twins, who I think we saw some artwork of when we just cracked open the book. We've got information about that NPC as well as this NPC. Yep, so those are the twins that we saw. I think it was the first piece of artwork as we opened the book. Lights, camera, action. So the Sultan is shooting a movie. So it looks like these are kind of optional set pieces here. Very cool. I am digging this a lot. Maybe these are the important NPCs. Or maybe we get these character sheets in case we need to replace player characters. That is a possibility. Scenario 3, Le Dossier Manche, is a rather linear scenario with established scenes taking place. However, some elements and clues can be discovered in more of a sandbox style. Many of the clues and elements relevant later in the campaign are introduced in this scenario, but may not make sense to the investigators until later in the campaign. With war at hand and the active seizure of German assets and businesses in Morocco, the French gendarmes took control of the Manche Tactile factory in Casablanca in late September 1939. In doing so, they discovered a cache of documents that left them befuddled. Aha. Looks like we've got some handouts here. So if we've got dotted lines, those must be handouts, kind of as an indicator for us to cut these out. So I guess maybe these lore sheets are meant to be shared with the players too. Kind of cool. We get a bunch of optional set pieces or scenes being introduced. Then we got a lodestone compass. Investigators race to acquire an artifact before it falls into the wrong hands. Unfortunately, the artifact, one of two lodestone compasses, was aboard a French battleship sunk at the Battle of Mers el-Kabir, Algeria. I know I mispronounced that. To acquire the lodestone compass, investigators must dive to the site of the wreckage. This is a MacGuffin type of scenario. Ooh, red herrings. The investigators will research, locate, and then attempt to secure the lodestone compass, a powerful and critical mythos artifact. All the while, various antagonists will oppose them at every opportunity. says, while this can be played as a standalone scenario, it's designed to be played as part of the ongoing campaign. All right. The Sultan. I wonder if that's the same Sultan who was shooting the movie. Maybe. The museum and the curator. I will have a review of the Blessed and the Blasphemous in the very near future. In fact, I'm going to start reading this later on this week. So I am hoping to have a review for you in very early June, because next month is going to be Small Publisher Month at the Gaming Gang, and I am really looking to focus on smaller publishers. That's why it's going to be Small Publisher Month. So here's an optional scenario, which we saw in the table of contents. So this is not an optional scene or anything. This is an optional scenario. So the campaign itself has 6 scenarios. This is the optional 7th. Horror in the Hammam is an entirely optional side quest. If played, it can provide the investigators with opportunities to discover new clues and information and take actions that will ultimately impact the main campaign and journey to Irem. The scenario sits on the periphery of the main campaign, with the Bon Voyant faction serving as the hook. All right. The Hotel Transatlantique. The Vomitorium. It's right there, the Vomitorium. So this is relatively short optional scenario there. Yeah. And then the Missing Lawyer. Campaign confidant Helene Carrez Benatar, I wonder if any relation to Pat Benatar, who recently revealed her association with the Righteous Companion Society, hopes to brief investigators on her latest findings. Under constant surveillance from Vichy and Nazi agents, she invites the investigators to a fundraising soiree co-hosted by the U.S. Consulate and the American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee. All right. So it looks like the player characters will get to hobnob a little bit. I am really digging the presentation here. So we get some historical photographs. We get some new artwork. We seem to get some travel posters as well. This is pretty wild. Okay, so this should be the finale. Lost City of Pillars. Investigators embark on their final journey at the Blessed and the Blasphemous campaign. In this climactic finale, they will cross the boundary between the mundane world and Irem, a city lost in time and space. Antagonistic factions determined to revive the twin blasphemies have already initiated an expedition to the current location of the Gate of Irem, an oasis that will only appear near Elysee during the next penumbral lunar eclipse. The events and scenes take place immediately on the heels of the previous scenario, with no time to breathe at all. Of course, now the war is in full swing. This should be probably about 1942. Here we get our epilogue, our appendix. So we got our glossary, alternate language handouts. Oh, there you go. So if you wanted to give the players handouts in the actual language that they're written in as opposed to a translation. So here's the backgrounds for our pre-generated characters. So yes, those are pre-gens that we can utilize in those scenarios, because here it's showing scenario 4 pre-gens. That's cool. I like that. Because a lot of times in Call of Cthulhu campaigns, it's not readily apparent who you can replace investigators with. There we go. Very nice. Very cool. Right, we're going to wrap up with acknowledgments. Do we get an index? No index. All right. So that is a peek inside Call of Cthulhu, the Blessed and the Blasphemous from Sons of the Singularity. Once again, this is available now. It does carry an MSRP of $64, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $28. And as I mentioned, I will have a review of this adventure campaign in the very near future. All right, that is it for this time out. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this first look, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on the channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.